backyard rabbitry. Welcome back to another video. My name is Anissa.
And I am John there.
Right, and a few of you asked to see what the backyard rabbitry setup looks like. So that is what this video is going to be about. You'll see the backyard rabbitry, and a little bonus as you'll also see some of the other things we have going around here as well too, the crops and stuff that we also have. So stick around because that's what this video is about. So this cage right here was the first major investment I made when I decided I was going into rabbits. So I bought this used. Somebody was getting out of the rabbit business, so I bought a used cage, and this was my start. So for cell cage, it's each cell is pretty big. It's 3 by 2.5 if I remember correctly. So this is what it looks like. These that you're seeing here is actually I numbered the cages, but with a permanent marker, but they faded. You can see this one still has very lightly printed number 1 on it. Right, so I numbered the cages. So I could identify each rabbit, and I record which cage is supposed to be in, so I know exactly where they're supposed to be. These here are holders I made for the cage cards. I no longer use cage cards, but the holders are just there. So that was one of them, and then I also did this one, and this one here was a different type I made. It was a bit of experimenting to see which one would work out nicely. This was actually I used this to hold the grass. So I don't exactly have a grass rack, but I use this. It keeps the grasses confined, so it's not all over the place for them to urinate or no, to mess up or anything like that. So when I pick grass, I stick it in the corner here. It keeps it contained, and that was just a can of something that I used, and I recycled it, you know. So nothing big, nothing fancy, very simple. I have different types of feeders that I used. Another can, sardine, as a feeder that I used here. This one just uses a bowl for the moment to hold the feed, and this piece of PVC is just for me that I could keep the bowl attached to the cage. This PVC feeder here, and very simple. The cage is on a stand. Urine and feces drop to the floor. Nothing big, nothing fancy, you know. My second, what I consider to be my second most important investment when I started getting into rabbits were these nipples. These nipples have served me well over the years. Right, putting up an automatic water system was what I think to be one of my greatest investments. I mean, it was a small investment, but one of my greatest ones. Right, helps be efficient. I don't have to come out every morning to fill bottles and stuff like that, and you know, more cage numbers here and card holders. This cage was half built. It's actually it came with this cage over here that I got first, and then this was half built, so it just had one side on the floor. It was built with the proper wire. I just took non-proper wire that was just lying around to finish it off because I needed this space. So this is actually I don't know what type of wire this is, right? I can see the ends of it are rusted, but for the most part it held up pretty well, and then just wires on top, and it's been held down by a piece of wood and 2 pieces of blocks. So, you know, just in case the rabbits decide to cause a riot and communicate with each other and decide to want to overthrow me, the government here, and decide to push the entire thing up entirely, they're gonna have some trouble doing that with the blocks in it, right? And again, this is The stand that this one is on is the cage from an IBC tank that I'm using as a stand, and I just put a piece of metal in the center just to give it some proper support. And you can see, alright, so this is my buck cage. Usually just the box, but next to has some grouts in it because I needed the space. Again, very simple setup, nothing fancy, and you can see this entire cage has is where I used the sardine tins. Alright. This is the first two-tiered system I have. I also bought this cage used, second hand, because I wanted to build. I had a design in my head and I wanted to build my cage, but because of due to the cost of the wire, buying this cage was actually cheaper than purchasing wire at the time, and I really needed the space because this was basically my first expansion and I needed the extra space. So I bought the cage used. Again, wasn't exactly what I wanted, not exactly what I would have done myself, but you know, under these circumstances, this is what I did. I was able to use this space and I got some life out of it. And I've also experimented with this. This is another grass rack that I experimented with. Alright, so I put the grass in here, and as you can see, her head could fit to pull out grass and stuff like that. Not the best use, I would say, because the holes were initially smaller than they are now, and her head was having some trouble to fit in the holes to pull it out. So I decided to make it a little bigger, and then in doing that, I gave Kits an avenue to attempt to escape. So I've had to block it up when she does have Kits. And of course, you could see the pickup in the background. Alright, these guys are not going to be here much longer. I am migrating. Up there is where I store the nest boxes. Mainly the oil kegs, cut differently. Some of them I cut in half, another one I cut out I just cut out a small section from it, keep it enclosed. I also have a plastic basket there. So as you can see, I have a bit of a mix of breeds, right? I initially started, when I started purchasing rabbits, I started with New Zealand whites, only New Zealand whites, and then along the way, what do I say, man? Along the way, things kind of changed a bit. Kind of migrated when it came to I kind of migrated when it came to the breeds that I was sticking with, right? Because I started to dabble in, I mainly raise for meats, but I started to dabble in like pets and stuff like that. So I had a little change in color. So the one of my breeders here, this one was bred right here on the farm. She's one of them that I raised and keep as a breeder. This girl here was one of the first rabbits that I bought. She was one of the first set, and she has been with me since inception. Never really had issues with her, never had problems with her or anything like that. She produces consistently, you know, that's what I like, consistency. Yeah. This one is a Flemish mix. You have a broken New Zealand. Another Flemish. The day is pretty hot, so they're drinking away. So, right, but let me carry on and show you what the new setup. You can get a glimpse of the new setup. It's not finished yet. Cages are still on the floor, but you go take a look. This here is going to be my new cage, my new setup, and it's 2 cages, 20 feet long. They each have 16 cells, so I'll basically be doubling what my current capacity is. It's a total of 32 cells, 32 cages to house my rabbits. Water line is already built in, using my nipples as well. Alright, so this will double what I can currently hold, and I could also move on from there as well too. So I didn't have a very big start. I don't have a large operation. I still operate as a backyard rabbitry, right? But you know, sometimes you don't always have funds to start the way you want to start. But if you want to start, you make the start, right? But you always keep your mind on the prize, keep your mind on the goal. Remember what it is you're working towards. You want to build up, you build up, so start what you have. I started in the garage, under the garage. You could see that. I bought a small cage, I bought it used. I bought another one after that when I could afford it and I had the space. And you know, you breed rabbits, you sell rabbits, you use that money to expand. And that's what I did until I got to the point where I could actually afford now to build bigger cages. Over the last year or so, I've really gotten some good momentum to move things along, and I was able to actually start my upgrade sooner than I was expecting, right? Because of the help people when they actually came and physically helped get things ready and build and stuff like that. And you guys know yourselves, and you know that I appreciate it, right? All right, so let's not get all mushy on the tube. I don't only raise rabbits, I also raise ducks, and I'll give you a little insight into that as well. So those are the ducks there, just in a corner, and there's some eggs as well. I don't want to disturb them. Right now, I intended to solely raise ducks for meat, but it started getting a bit difficult to get ducklings to buy that I could raise as growths, as fatteners. So I eventually had to resort to buying breeders to raise so that they can lay me some eggs. Come on, let's go see the eggs. Again, nothing fancy. I just put up 2 blocks. I have some eggs there. You have a few across here as well. Right, see, was it started with this cage was not actually built for layers. It was built for growths, but I had to you know, sometimes in life things happen. You have to roll with it and adapt and change and overcome, you know. So in case you don't know, I also plant crops. We also have crops here as well, so we take a look at what we have growing as well. This is a Mocha plant I have here. I don't have many Mocha, just a few. I have about 3 of them. But you know, when you plant things like Mocha and planting a banana, there's usually get suckers. So check that sucker out. I have about, this one has about 3 suckers, and I have one that has like 5 and stuff. So you know, you start small and you go build. There are a number of coconut trees growing in various spots. We have some pawpaw here, some planting ready to harvest. Yum! This is my planting field. I also have these little guys. These are some pimentos I planted recently. I actually had quite a bit of planting before that were bearing, but I got rid of them. I didn't like how they were coming along, so I got rid of them. I've decided to start over. Sometimes that's what you need to do in life, start over. This is all the planting here. Alright, so that's it basically. A few of you asked, y'all wanted to see the rabbit setup and wanted a little tour. And I gave you all a bonus. You all saw the rabbit, a tour of the rabbit setup, and that's my present. You also saw what is going to be happening in the future as well too. You got to pick at that, and you also saw what else, you know, we have going on here as well too. Planting, we have some pawpaw, we have the ducks, right? At some point we probably have some goats and stuff going on, and I can always fill you all in as well too on how that's going as well. So thanks for watching. I'm gonna get out of the sun now and head back inside where it's nice and cool, and I'll see you all for the next video. And don't forget to join the conversation by writing in the comments down below.